We've been trying to get these potatoes in the ground for weeks and weeks and weeks, and it's been really, really wet. But we've had a nice break in the weather, got them in the ground. Happy, happy, happy. Hello, backyard vegetable gardeners. Welcome to the Backyard Vegetable Gardening channel. Today's Monday, April the 4th, 2024. Sure hope you're having a great day. Well, guys, I don't know if you're having a great day, but I'm having a great day. We've been trying to get these potatoes in the ground for weeks and weeks and weeks, and it's been really, really wet. But we've had a nice break in the weather. We've been able to keep the weeds tilled down. We'd like to have had a few more weeks in between the tilling, but it is what it is, guys. Got them in the ground. Happy, happy, happy. What we wound up doing is we planted us 3 rows of taters here. This first row right here will be our Yukon Golds. Got about a 25-foot row. Got about a little 27-foot row of the Yukon Golds. And this is going to be the mixed assortment row right here. That row right there was from that bucket that we found under the kitchen counter. But as long as they come up, that's really all that matters. Growing your own potatoes is highly economical, and they are relatively easy to grow. Depending on the variety, you can expect as much as 5 pounds of potatoes from a single plant, and they require only a little bit of maintenance, making them a perfect plant for new gardeners. They prefer loose, well-draining soil with a pH of around 5.5 to 6.5. The ideal time to plant your potatoes is 2 to 4 weeks before your last average frost date. So if you intend on pre-sprouting your seed potatoes, you'll want to begin the chitting process 3 to 4 weeks prior to when you intend on planting them. If you'd like to learn more about chitting, come back and click on the card above and watch that video, or you can find the video in our Beginner Gardener playlist. While you can grow potatoes using ones purchased from the grocery store, you'll have much better success if you plant certified disease-free seed potatoes. If you do want to try planting store-bought potatoes, certified organic potatoes are recommended because they haven't been sprayed with a sprout inhibiting agent like the regular ones have. When planting your seed potatoes, you'll start by digging a furrow 4 to 8 inches deep. I like to drive a stake at each end of the row and pull a string to help keep the rows straight and uniformly spaced. If you discover that the soil at the bottom of your furrow seems hard or compacted, take a small garden fork and loosen it up. This is a pretty good indicator that you need to amend your soil with compost and sand if you plan on growing potatoes again in the same place. Something I like to do is to preload the soil with fertilizer before planting. Typically, I'll broadcast a good amount of a balanced organic fertilizer on top of each bed and till it into the soil about 30 to 45 days before I intend on planting. But if things happen and I don't have that much lead time, I'll do the same thing using a synthetic fertilizer like a 10-10-10 or a 20-20-20. Properly preloading the soil will help your potatoes sprout quicker by ensuring that there's plenty of nutrition available to the plants. Synthetic fertilizers are very good at providing faster access to nutrients, while the organic fertilizers are good for providing access to nutrients over a longer period of time. Once the trench for your seed potatoes is ready, you'll want to put your seed potatoes into the trench with the sprouts facing upward, spaced between 8 to 18 inches apart depending on the variety. If you're planning on planting multiple rows of potatoes, then you'll want to space your rows about 36 inches apart, or at least as far apart as necessary for you to have enough soil to heal those potatoes as they grow. After you're finished, fill the furrow back in. Optionally, if you haven't preloaded your soil, you can apply a light side dressing of fertilizer either on top or in between your covered rows. But if you have, then you'll want to wait until 2 weeks after sprouting, which is normally when we fertilize our potato plants for the first time. A typical fertility schedule for potatoes would be to preload your soil with a balanced fertilizer like we discussed, alternate between using calcium nitrate and a balanced fertilizer every 2 weeks. And you'll want to stop fertilizing about a month before harvesting. The only things that are left to do is watering in the rows and staking in our labels. As I mentioned earlier, it'll take about 2 to 3 weeks before your potato plants have sprouted, so be patient. Once they've sprouted and start to grow, just follow the advice you've just learned about hilling and fertilizing, and make sure to water them regularly, and in about 80 to 100 days your potatoes will be ready to harvest. We wound up having a few hours in between work today, which was a great blessing. My son was able to finish his school up very quickly, and he was able to come out here and do a lot of work with me. We wound up being able to finally get the second bed completed in that little area right over there. And we might have a surprise for you soon right behind there. We was going to do 3 of them beds, but I think we come up with a better idea. Don't want to say we are or not. Maybe we'll just cover that in and plant in earth. But if things work out like what we're thinking, we might have something a little special to put back there. Nothing fancy, but just good old country ingenuity. So we're really happy about that. Glad to get the potatoes in. Glad to get that bed ready. And we got some other stuff the other week that my wife's really going to be happy about. Snow peas and some sugar snap peas coming up, and she's going to be really, really happy. She seems to like these things very much. I'll eat them, but I'm not really a big connoisseur. These are the dwarf gray sugar peas. Never had those before. I don't think she's had them before. She just picked up some seeds, or maybe I picked them up and she agreed. But boy, she's always happy to see these peas coming up. And this is where we used to have the blueberries, and we relocated them into some containers this year, free up this space right here. And this last 10 foot would be just the sugar snap peas. So, and here's what makes the babies happy. All these strawberries. And we bought us 18 more strawberry plants the other day, some Quinault and some Sure Crops. Don't know where we're going to put them yet, but everything's looking good today. Really, really, really happy. Really, really happy. That lettuce, get us a good harvest of that tomorrow. And here's some nice Alpine strawberries. In case you're wondering what those are, they're little bitty strawberries. They're a cultivated wild type of strawberry. They're not quite as large as these modern strawberries, but they sure are flavorful. The grand young'uns like them. I like them pretty good. Just there's not much size to them. So hopefully those will start producing before too long. But things are waking up pretty good. We're still waiting on the broccoli to start taking off. It's growing a little slow. Looks good. It's growing a little slow. So hopefully it'll take off. Some of them are a little puny down there, but they were awful small when we transplanted them. They're still doing well as far as that goes. But these last 8 we bought from the produce market. Some Green Magic, and those are doing pretty good. But one of the things that's really, really got me excited is to see these Catawba grapes are waking up. Makes me happy. And so are these Sunbelt grapes. Really, really happy to see that. It's going to make a bunch of people happy. I don't know, we probably won't get a big harvest this year, but maybe next year. You know, I don't know what the weather's like where you're at, but where I'm at, it's going up and down. And right now we're in a warm trend. We were in a cool trend, and we've got all these things hardening off here. We finally got this batch of nasturtiums and calendula. It's all hardened off, and we got some grapevines we're going to try to propagate. We had 4 grapevines right over here, and we decided to take up 3 of them because I didn't really like those things. They were here when we bought the property, but we decided to keep this one right here for a friend of ours, and I didn't have the heart to throw them all away. See, there they are. There's the 3 that we had, and we kept this and we pruned it back, and it's doing pretty good. But they've got a seed in them, and you got to skin them, and they don't taste really good. I think they're for juices and wine or whatever. I'm not gonna eat those things. They're nasty. But everything that we was hardening is still doing pretty good. Everything you see on this table here is finally hardened off. A lot of it isn't cold weather stuff, so it couldn't handle the temperatures, the nighttime temperatures that we had over the past 3 or 4 days. And we had to construct this little bitty temporary poly tent here. Found a little 4x4 bed that we had dug up a few years ago and laid it somewhere behind one of the buildings. And we just put some rebar stakes in the ground and put that PVC, arched it over, and made a little, threw some construction plastic over it, put a heat lamp in it, and that's where we put everything. And hopefully we won't have to use that no more. Well, I think that'll about do it for today, guys. Don't forget, if you like what we're doing, you can show your support by hitting that like button, giving us a big thumbs up. And if you like gardening and garden-related content, please consider subscribing to the channel. It really helps us out. Thank you for watching. We'll see you on the next one.